I think we need more thinking.
Yeah. Take that, Boston. Take that. I know you're respectful to me, but take that.
Let's try to get healthy. Let's stay together. And if we can do that, we'll put ourselves in a good situation.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome. I'm CS Chandler, here for another take of Nuggets basketball. You might well see that I am not in my studio, as I said in my last podcast that I am on the road. And part of that is also because I got to cover the Golden State Warriors game, the Nuggets versus Golden State there on Sunday. First, just to kind of highlight about that before I dip into tonight's game, is that it was a very weird vibe for one. I mean, I just want to say too, I want to give out my thanks as always to Adam Mares of the DNVR, as well as the entire crew of DNVR, producer Nick, always Kale, D-Line, Dev, Win, all of them. So vote. But always a pleasure to cover the Nuggets wherever they are. I would hope to cover them eventually at another location, not just at Chase Center, but I love Chase Center. I love also the Warriors staff, especially Raymond of the media, head of media there. They're just very welcoming. They're very, their hospitality is really, really nice and very warm. So I really enjoy when I get to go to those games. And then also I'm a huge Curry fan, so just to be able to see him even if he's not playing, that's always great. And there's still a lot of basketball history tied with that franchise, regardless of their 7 championships. They still have like Wilt Chamberlain played for them, so they have the Wilt banner up there, and then of course then also the Curry and all of the stuff that comes with him, but then also the fact that you have Steve Kerr, who was a former Chicago Bull during the Jordan era, my favorite era, my GOAT, Jordan. So I love when I get to go to those games. Would love to go to another arena eventually, but I was running late. So normally when you get there an hour and a half before the game, you get the pre-game presser with Adelman and Steve Kerr. I would like to eventually get to interview Steve Kerr, because right now I only focus on Nuggets, and so because they interview at the same time, I never get the chance to go over to the Warriors interview room, and I would love to do that eventually, but focus is always on Nuggets. And so there he goes in, I think 10 or 15 minutes before Adelman does, and then Adelman will go on typically at exactly an hour and a half before tip-off or before the game starts. And I was running late, and I got there. I was running late, and then I got, this has happened to me twice. When I get into Chase Center, I get stopped by security, and there's always a mix-up with my badge. This has happened multiple times now. So that held me up. But then I started rushing through, trying to get there on time. And of course I was late, so I missed the presser, which kind of bummed me out, if nothing else. DNVR never posts the pregame pressers. That's more information for their pregame than it really is for posting. And so I was kind of bummed to let them down about that. But at the same time, too, I like to have that stuff for my own archive as well, and I didn't get a chance to do that. And I also had thought of a great question for Adelman beforehand, but missed that chance. And so then there was supposed to not be a shoot around either. They were still out there practicing a little bit, so I tried my best to get out there. Missed that too, because I saw Zeke Naji was doing a shoot around when I got in to the immediate area, and so by the time I had built my rig and everything, he was already off the court. So I had to I went out there, took a couple of pictures of the arena and everything, and then waited for the game to start, and I started recording, and I got a lot of great stuff. And the best thing too is just like every time I go there, I feel like my content and my quality is getting better and better and better. And so I'm really excited for the next time that I'm able to do it. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. But the game itself, I didn't even really focus on the game because I was so focused on the content, getting the best quality and the best shots and everything possible, that I didn't even really focus on the actual game. I was here and there engaged with it, and occasionally, so when on the first quarter, I was down on the floor taking photos and video of the game. And then on the second quarter, I was up in the media area section taking notes and little still kind of photos and videos from that angle, but it's so far away that it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy watching the game and take some notes and everything. And then after halftime, I went back to the court to take photos and videos. I stayed down there the entire third quarter. And that's when the Nuggets were playing their best. And at one point, I even looked up, because if you remember that game, they were down by, 12 it was like 9 at the half. I think it was like 9 or 10 at the half. And at some point, I forget, it was like maybe like halfway through the third, something like that. I look up at the scoreboard and see that we are ahead by 5. I was like, what? When did this happen? And it was because I was just so focused on the shots and everything. But, that was a great quarter. And it was really, especially, you come off such a great game against Portland. That win was amazing, and you would hope that the vibes from that game would have extended onto this game. And there's just something about the Nuggets and matinee games that really makes it difficult for them to get the win. They get really tired really easily on those. So we had yet again another issue, struggling in the clutch. Got down to the fourth quarter, and they blew the lead, and blew the lead to a team who is also probably even more beaten up right now than the Nuggets are, because they also have a season-ending injury with Jimmy Butler. They have Curry's out. Draymond was a late scratch. Don't know if that was actually a thing or not, but they said something with his back. And then you also had trying to manage Porzingis. And then also Seth Curry was out too. So there was a lot of guys out for that game on their side. But much like the Nuggets in Philadelphia against the Sixers, without their starters, without Tim Hardaway Jr., managed to overtake a healthy Sixers team. A Sixers team that had Maxey on there, Embiid on there. I think the only one that might have not been in that game, I forget now, was Paul George. I think that was like the major one. Him and maybe Kelly Oubre. But I saw there was a lot of similarities in there. That the Nuggets started to not respect the other team, the in this case the Warriors, just as the Sixers did not respect the Nuggets in that moment. And every single time that happens, it bounces against the person thinking down on the other one. You have to respect the game, and the Nuggets did not respect the game. And so even with their almost near starters, you're only missing Aaron Gordon, and then also P. Watt, which obviously rounds out your rotation. They both didn't even go on that trip. AG and P. Watt didn't even go on there. So I was actually looking for them too, and I didn't see them. I'm like, where are they? They're not there. I saw Pickett. Pickett was there, and he was in there with his green jumpsuit or whatever, sitting down next to Big Val. And, we got yet again another tough game where they lost in the clutch, and it was just really frustrating. And so then you go into the post-game interview and I wait for my turn. But the other thing too, this was a nationalized televised game on Sunday. Remember, it was on ABC. The first game of the season was also Golden State on national television, right? It was I believe an ESPN game, and the first game of the season, that interview room was full. It was packed. This time there was like 4 people. It really kind of also threw off a lot of people, I think, especially me, because typically, because I haven't been a part of the media area for that long, I'm coming in more from the film and corporate background, so coming into the sports world is a little newer for me, and I think a lot of it shows to other people. I'm still trying to get more acquainted with everyone and everything, but I didn't want to overstay or outstretch my boundaries there. So I always wait for someone else to question and everything first before they get the interview going. And the first question is always the easiest question after a game, especially a loss. What you see in that game? What didn't you like in that game? What are your thoughts in that game? Like, those questions are always the easiest. They're always usually the first ones, and that's typically the one that gets the most information. And then pretty much after that, you're rehashing pretty much the same thing, and I'm trying not to ask the same question. So I wasn't a fan of my question, but at the same time, there was still something to it, and I don't think I got it out the right way that I wanted it to. And so I'm going to try, as I normally do, to get better at that. I'm glad that at least I, really held in to my quality. Now I got to focus on my interviewing, but still, there wasn't a lot of people, and I felt like this a couple of times now, just listening to Adelman talk. He hasn't really taken a lot of accountability for these games where he has thrown out there not very good lineups. He hasn't taken his timeouts appropriately. He hasn't used his challenges appropriately. And yet he blames the effort of the players. And yet there's also a level of he still has the locker room, which is good. You definitely want him to have the locker room still, but it just kind of throws me off that he hasn't really taken accountability on some of these losses, especially on Golden State. He should have done a lot more than what he did, especially challenging calls, and even to the fact of just even maybe getting yourself ejected from the game to get some kind of change within the officiating. Malone knew that. He would get ejected when it was really necessary. And we have yet to see that with Adelman. I don't think that the refs really take him seriously yet. And they kind of figure, he's kind of, I know people have called him like a Keebler elf or whatever. It does kind of feel a little bit like that. Like he's just kind of like a small dog barking. And so you don't really get a lot of people paying attention. He's gotten a couple of techs that he had to really, really try hard, but that was a tech. He's not gotten ejected yet. And I think that in order to get some of the officiating corrected for the Nuggets, he's got to take some kind of extreme level and get ejected eventually. And maybe it also would kick some energy into the Nuggets too when they get into these lulls. And so that was one thing I noticed. And then we go into the locker room. And the locker room, typically altitude leads the way with a lot of the questioning and the interviews and everything. They were not there. Their videographer was there. That was it. He was just there to capture footage, not to ask questions, just to grab the footage and everything. And so there was no Katie Wingy there to lead the way for interview questions. And so we waited there for a while, not knowing who we're going to interview, until finally Jokic, comes out, and he's gets done with his post-game workout, and we start asking him questions. And then finally I was able to ask him a question too, and didn't really love it, but at least I still got it out, and it was something that I feel like we haven't really heard of, and I basically asked him what he thought about finally having a teammate on the All-Star weekend and everything, and with Jamal in it. He just was more saying that he was happy for Jamal that happened, and it was fun. Now in hindsight, I think I could have asked a little bit more questions. Like, one question I really want to ask Jokic is the communication with the refs working? Is talking to them working? Like, how is the talking going? Because we are seeing that way too much now. Just a couple of months ago, he said he would stop talking to the refs, and yet now he is only talking to the refs, and it doesn't seem like actually in that Golden State. So because of the fact that I really didn't pay attention, I had to rewatch that game again, and I saw a lot of stuff I didn't even see when I was there. And one thing I did not see is that the refs that he was talking to in that game started to ignore Jokic. That's where we're at right now, where Jokic is talking to refs, he's getting ignored. So, I think that's an actual valid question, and I think that next time I would love to ask him that if he's still keeping it up, and I hope that he's not. I don't have to ask that question again, because I want Jokic to get back to the way that we love him playing, which we have seen occasionally too, And the other thing too is that was such an amazing game for him. He had such a great stat on that one. I think it was like 38, 15, and 12 or something like that. Another triple-double. And then after Jokic, then Christian Brown. And while we were waiting for these interviews to happen, the vibes were so low. You had guys slamming cabinets, heads hanged low, and the one guy that was remotely kind of in a good mood was Spencer Jones. So I even talked to him a little bit and asked him if he had visited Stanford on his way back, and he's like he had, and then I got to introduce myself and everything, which I was really proud of, and told him that I was a part of the interview, his first ever NBA interview last year, when he got called up to come in when Jokic, Jamal, and CB were out, and it was Aaron Gordon that was the lead for that. So, it was just a really weird, you had guys kind of storming out there as quick as possible, just trying to get their bags to get out of there. They were just not in, it didn't look like they were in a good mood. They were kind of fed up, and I get it, you had just taken a loss, but I feel like a team needs to see that there's still hope. And yes, you get upset when you lose. No one likes losing, but you got to keep that hope and positivity going, right? Keep positive vibes. But it was really weird. So then we got to Christian Brown, and I wanted to ask Christian Brown a question, but when you're in one of these media huddles in the locker room, you have to, it's all about timing. And so I was waiting for my timing while all these other journalists were asking him questions and everything. And so then when I finally found my moment, they were like, okay, thank you. And then they shut down the interview and everything. And I just got a couple of words out and didn't get to finish my question. So unfortunately, I didn't get to ask CB a question. Hopefully next time. But I did get footage of CB in an interview, so that's also good. But so overall, it was a great experience. I like I said, I do love working those games and covering those games, win or loss. I'm just looking at the opportunities there, and I'm really grateful for that. So again, thank you, DNVR and Adam. If you watch my podcast, I doubt you do, but if you do, which you might, thank you. We got to collaborate too, by the way. So now we go to this game, the Nuggets and Celtics. So obviously you went down, fell to the undermanned Golden State Warriors. You got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and you got to get a win. You got to get a bounce back win. And the Nuggets, man, they were locked in. They were locked in. So the injury list going into this was AG, Piwatt, Pickett were all three of them are still out. You had Jamal Murray and Julian Strawther were probable. I'm thinking that Jamal's going to be resting here fairly soon. He actually left the game early in this one because something, I guess, illness. Apparently in Adelman's post-game interview, he was asked about that, and when Jamal had shown up and he'd seen him, he looked terrible. So he played a couple of minutes and then he gave up. So that's interesting. The next game is the Thunder, and we'll see, and it's in OKC. I don't know if he's going to play. Hopefully they give him some kind of meds and everything to get him back up and running and everything, and hopefully he doesn't have anything serious, but that really sucks to see him get out because we definitely need Jamal to get this training going again, And so the starting lineup was still Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, Julian Strawther, and Jokic. And man, we are getting some really good minutes from Julian Strawther. He had a lesser game against Golden State, but still, he got in double digits. He's still having some impact on the game. And I'm still really happy that he's showing himself capable of having impactful minutes where if he wasn't there, I don't know how the Nuggets would be faring right now because they're struggling so much anyways. The Nuggets were wearing their blue jerseys and the Celtics were wearing their white jerseys, and the Nuggets won. Yeah. Take that, Boston. Take that. I know you're respectful to me, but take that. The Nuggets not only got a win, they got a munder win. So they got 103-84 is your final score. That's a munder win. That's also the season sweep over the Boston Celtics. Because remember, in January, we beat them. An undermanned Nuggets beat them at home. So let's go Nuggets, man. Let's go. What happened in this game? Let's break it down. So Celtics, they actually win the tip and aren't able to convert the shot. Nuggets then, on the other side, they misfire as well. Second chance, Jokic to Murray for the near dunk, get the Nuggets the first bucket of the game. Let's go. Buzzer beater, then this was a really awesome one. So the Nuggets got down. The shot clock was ending because the Celtics defense was locking in. And Jokic saves the ball. He almost gets the ball out. He gets it in the corner pocket with one foot, just swings around and puts up the ball. Hail Mary, buzzer beater, 3, gets it. Awesome shot there. I'm sure that's going to be on the highlight reel. Celtics then, they don't back down at all, and they gain a lead off of a 3 and a 3-point play from Jaylen Brown, Jaylen Brown. But then Cam ties it up at 3. So this first quarter was a very scrappy quarter, especially from the Nuggets. The Nuggets defense was looking very scrappy, and it wasn't like big margins at first. The Celtics only gained, I think, about like a 8-point lead at one point, and then the Nuggets stormed back. And so CB then, he takes a couple of attempts at a 3, and this was probably one of the few times that he actually shot tonight. He did not have a good defensive game tonight, which has been a kind of repetitive situation lately, unfortunately, but I'm still got a lot of hope for CB. And he took 3 attempts. Finally, on the last one, sinks the 3 in to tie the game at 16. Celtics still go on to outscore the Nuggets in the first quarter, 24-21. Second quarter, the Nuggets start off with a lineup of Brucey B, Cam Johnson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Spencer Jones, and Big Val, as the Nuggets aren't able to get a bucket off. Defense from the Celtics was just too good. And then on the other end, Keita, for a layup, gets the first bucket of the quarter. Not protecting the perimeter, the from the Nuggets, the Celtics are able to go up by 8 at this point. So this is where they go up by 8 in the beginning part of the second quarter. And it's kind of starts off like that, you know. Typically the second quarter, even when the Nuggets have eventually a better second quarter than the rest of the game, the first part of it, like I want to say like maybe like the first 4 minutes of the second quarter are typically a struggle for the Nuggets. And we saw that here. And so the Nuggets have a good sequence, though, of hustle plays that allow them to get multiple chances. And finally, Cam sinks a 3 to make it a 2-point game. Like, that was probably my favorite part of the game, honestly, was just the hustle that the Nuggets were playing, the not giving up on stuff, because we've seen that way too many times on these other losses where the ball gets poked out or whatever, and they just kind of let the other team take it over and go into fast break transition, get an uncontested dunk or whatever. And there was still a little bit of laziness in this one. I will say that there was still a little bit of lazy one, but just to see that little bit of sequence there with a lot of hustle was just awesome. And then we got Big Val with a floater over Vucevic, which, again, I can't stand seeing Vucevic in a Celtics jersey, man. Need him back in a Bulls jersey, or even I would take Vucevic in the Knicks or in Denver. Like, I don't like seeing him in Celtics. But he gets that floater over Vooch and ties the game at 36. But quickly after that, Derrick White sinks a 3, get the 3-point lead again for the Nuggets, or for the Celtics. And man, if the Nuggets could pull off a trade to get Derrick White, I would love that. I mean, he's already a Colorado kid. He needs to be back in Colorado. I would love to see him play on the Nuggets. I don't want to hate him anymore. I mean, he roots for all the Colorado teams anyways. Just bring him back to Colorado, Nugs. Come on. Let's do this. Who do we got to trade? Who do we got to trade to get Derrick White back? But then Brucey B, who was really on fire tonight, he had a lot of great defense. Some not so great offensive moments. But he hustles Jaylen Brown. Like, he was on him, like white on rice, man. It was fun to watch. He causes a turnover, or at least the ball to get out on Jaylen Brown, but they call it out on Brucey B, and he's emphatic. He's waving his hand, you know, the little twirly finger and everything. They finally listen to him. They call a timeout. They challenge it. It's successful Nuggets ball. Jokic then checks back in at the 6:06 mark, and immediately with a floater for the lead by 1. Cam then from deep ties the game up at 43. Brucey B then gets the steal, kicks it over to Tim Hardaway Jr. for the jam and a 2-point lead. Short-lived, though, again, because Derrick White gets a 3 again. It's a very repetitive pattern, especially when you're facing against Derrick White. It typically will happen. Nuggets then they outscore the Celtics, actually, 26-24. However, Derrick White got that last 3 off of in the quarter and still got the Celtics the lead going into the half with 48-47. So if you already notice anything, that low score already kind of showed you that both teams were struggling. They were both struggling to make shots, and they were both struggling to kind of hold on to the ball, essentially. There was a lot of turnovers, I think, on both sides. There was a lot of dumb turnovers, though, too, from the Nuggets. And so the third quarter, we got with the starters, because now this is already, Jamal has sat out, and he's already listed not going to come back. So Brucey B takes his spot as in the starting for the first half. And Jokic puts up a brick from 3. There was a lot of bricks from 3 from the Nuggets. Jaylen Brown then forces the foul on Strawther, goes to the line, makes 1 of 2 for the first points of the quarter, and then immediately again gets fouled and makes both to get the Celtics first to 50. And then the Celtics get into the bonus very, very early at the 9-minute mark of this third quarter. CB then sinks a 3 while Jokic gets fouled for a chance at a 4-point play, and Jokic misses it, because that was another aspect to this game, was just how horrible the Nuggets were shooting free throws. They shot, at one point, I looked at it, and it was a 55% shooting we're going to look at the full stats here a little bit, but man, 55% shooting. Come on, Nuggets. These are easy points. Why are you bricking and missing free throws? You got to make it free throws, man. Like, this could have easily have been a bigger lead or score than 103. Like, I'm glad they even broke the 100 point, because it almost at one point didn't look like they were going to even do that. But man, they were just struggling. So they missed out on that 4-point play. And then the Nuggets come back with great defense, just great defense that gets the turnovers, and then lead to runouts and in transition buckets. It was just fun. The best one, though, is our guy KJ Simpson. Got some minutes tonight, and in one of the minutes in the third quarter, he gets a run out and a fast break dunk, and he was so, like, the energy that was coming off of him, like, yes, we need more of that. It was really college level energy. Like, he was doing this with his jersey and everything. Man, you don't really see that a lot in the NBA, like that kind of level of energy. It was really fun to watch that, and I hope that we get to see more of that from him. So the Nuggets actually outscore the Celtics, and I believe this is kind of where the game was just already told that it was going to be the Nuggets. Because also you got to remember, too, that the Celtics were on a back-to-back. They came from the Suns to then play in the Mile High. They've had a great Western Conference or West Side road trip. They destroyed the Lakers. They destroyed the Suns. I forget who the other one that they played, but still, I think they won all of their games except for the one in Denver. So they were on their last, little breath and everything. So I will give that to them, knowing the Nuggets have had this same kind of issue, but this is kind of where you saw that they were going to lose this game, because the Nuggets outscored them by 30-19. So they outscored them by 11 in that quarter, and that was where they kind of took that lead. And in the fourth quarter, the Nuggets started off with a lineup of KJ Simpson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, Spencer Jones, and Big Val, as Celtics open with a misfire. Big Val then gets first 2 buckets of the quarter and forces Celtics to take timeout. I think they were both there was one was like a hook, and the other one was that little spin around fadeaway that he tries to do that I don't love, but he does it. And then the Nuggets go up by 13. that was the fact that the bench grew the lead. They didn't just hold on to the lead. They grew it. That's, I think, the little signs that you need to look for to see how well or how prepared the Nuggets are for the playoffs. When you do something like that, we don't typically have that, right? Typically, it's the starters that gain the lead. The bench comes in and lose the lead. This time, they're actually gaining the lead, and I love it. So Cam then blows a tire. This was one of those bad turnovers. He blows a tire and just kind of falls down. It was like, what happened? Gets a turnover. Luckily, because the turnover leads to Pritchard, who has a lot of time in the corner pocket for a 3. He sizes it up. He's looking at it, and he puts it off, and then it misses. I'm like, I don't know how that just happened, especially Pritchard. Of all people, Pritchard missing that shot. But he missed it, and the Nuggets lucked out. On the other end, Simpson with the rebound kicks it to Tim Hardaway Jr. for the 3. Nuggets go up by 14. Nuggets bench just, again, able to continue to grow the lead. They grow it to 17. Jokic then checks back in at the 5:33 mark, and Strawther for 3 gets the Nuggets first to 100 in the garbage minutes, too. So, like, at the 4-minute mark or so, actually, no, I think it was like around the 5:33 mark or the 4-minute mark, something like that, was where the Celtics actually took out their starters and they put in their reserves. And so Jokic was playing against their reserves. And I think it was more because Adelman just wanted to keep him limber. He didn't want to see him get, stagnant or anything, especially with the injuries and everything. So it's kind of more of like a protocol kind of thing. But then eventually he does check out. and Strawther against in those garbage minutes, he gets that 3 to get the Nuggets over that 100 mark, and the Nuggets outscored the Celtics 26-17 in the fourth. Yes, let's go Nuggets. They get that munder, and again, final score 103-84, and the season sweep over the over the Celtics. It feels so good. I love it, especially because Celtics every year try to pack Ball Arena, and to see them get blown out and have to take the walk of shame out of Ball Arena even before the game ends. I love it. I love that so much. That was the most beautiful part of the game, I think, at the very end there, to see them Celtics fans taking that walk of shame, especially when they try to pack the arena. I can't stand when other teams pack our arena. And really, it happens a lot to the Nuggets. Like, a lot of other teams will pack the arena. I know the Lakers always try to pack the arena. The Clippers try to pack the arena. The Golden State Warrior fans try to pack the arena. Celtics try to pack the arena. Even I think there's some, or the Timberwolves definitely try to pack the arena. And you also got, I think OKC is getting more and more to trying to pack the arena as well. And then you have, who else? There are some decent Bulls, and I know the Knicks fans also try to pack the arena as well. And then, there's surprisingly a lot of Grizzlies fans too that come into the arena. So, but there are, you don't really get too many Pacers fans or other fans. I know Maverick fans try to pack the arena too, and sometimes the Hornet or the Houston Rockets fans. But man, I love watching the other team take the walk of shame. It's fun. It's really fun. So, but the big takeaway from me in this game is just, this is going to be a rocky season. We already know it. We're in the thick of it right now. I told you already when we got that really good game win against Portland that this was not going to be forever, that they are going to still have some rocky games. And sure enough, that first game after that win was a rocky game. Now we get a really good win. Don't just keep that in mind when they face the Thunder, because then we have the Thunder and the Timberwolves. Those two games are also national televised games, which the Nuggets just have not been great at national televised games. And so I think it's great to have your expectations set and know that it's going to be a struggle. And if they get a win, awesome. But if they don't start crashing out on the Nuggets. They do this. This is sports, and they're not the only ones either. The rest of the Western Conference is also losing. There are only two teams right now that are consistently winning, and one of them just lost tonight against the Pistons. That's right, the Thunder lost against the Pistons. The Spurs are now 2 games away from taking over the 1 seed. The Spurs are on a incredible run right now. They're on a 10-game winning streak. So I don't think that that's going to last much longer. I think that someone will beat them, if not the Nuggets. And hopefully they lose enough games that gives the Nuggets some kind of hope for maybe the 2nd seed. But we've got to retake the 3rd seed officially first before we even think about the 2nd seed. And even if we end at the 3rd seed, I think that's still a great position for the Nuggets. It still has hope for at least enough home court advantage games that when you get into the other rounds, and especially the fact that this team has been such a good road team, it might even benefit the Nuggets to not have home court advantage. I mean, we saw that already this season. That they've been a much better road team. So who knows? But I think that it will be a good. I think the Nuggets will still be good going into the playoffs here. We just got to get the Nuggets, the rest of the Nuggets healthy. Got to keep them and move forward. And right now, Jamal is a worry. Like, we got to know what's going on with Jamal, and I do think that he needs to sit out a game here, whether it's the one at Utah or one of the games afterwards, because we definitely need him in OKC. We need him for the Timberwolves matchup, but after that, and we do need him for the Lakers. The Lakers are next week too. This is an awful stretch, and so it might be best to set him out on the Utah one. And make sure that he is healthy, because we need him especially for the playoffs. But it's a great win tonight. Any way you slice it, it's a great win. And have that sweep over a dominant team, because you got to remember too that the Celtics were everyone thought they were going to tank this season because they had basically lost their entire championship team, the roster and everything, especially with Tatum going out. But give them credit, they've been able to bounce back, and they took over the second seed, and they've had a great run. And I don't think that they're going to win the championship this season, but I do think they are going to have a lot better approach to the playoffs. And who knows, Tatum might actually come back very soon here, and then you got even a worse problem. So, I think going into the playoffs, I think the best contenders, to me, I still think the Spurs are a threat. I think that they're a threat. I think anyone who has doubted them has already been proven wrong that they can be a threat. They've owned OKC this season. Is one of the few teams that has owned them. As frustrating as they are to face, and the Spurs just kind of played with them. They didn't even really feel the impact of the one-sided officiating and the aggressive defense and everything. So I think that they're still a very big contender. Obviously, OKC is a contender. But then also you got Pistons. I still hope that the Knicks are a contender, and then you got the Nuggets. And the crazy thing is that to me, I feel like the Knicks and the Nuggets are kind of almost having similar storylines going on. They are going down this almost similar timelines here. Just how they have the same kind of issues. They both have issues with defense at times. And then when like Jalen Brunson goes out, they fall apart. And then Cat also is a little bit of a glue guy too. And so, there's just a lot of similarities. I feel like when they were both hot at the same time, and then they started to sync together, and now they're both kind of struggling in the same places, in the same stretch, like in the clutch areas. They're both struggling. But it's just kind of weird to me. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. But let's get into stats here. So stats, which of course it reboots. All right, so stats here. We had Christian Brown playing 27 minutes tonight, and he made 6 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. No, he was 2 for 5. Sorry, 2 for 5 from field, 2 for 5 from 3. He had 0 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, was a -2. Cam Johnson played 34 minutes tonight, which was the most amount of minutes of any Nugget. I love seeing that, actually, for a guy who was just out about a month ago, a little less than that even. It's great to have him back and playing now long minutes. Love to see that. He had 11 points, and he had a great approach of defense tonight. Like, I think the Nuggets don't win this game without his defense. Him and Brucey B, man, they were hounding the Celtics so hard. It was great, So he put up 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 4 for 11 from field, 3 for 6 from 3. He had 1 turnover, that bad turnover, that was just like what happened. He had 1 personal foul. He was a +17, which is the second highest plus or minus of any Nugget tonight. We will get to the highest one here soon. So Jokic played 32 minutes tonight, and got a near triple-double because, of course, because he's the best player of all time, or at least of the world right now. And I'm happy that I got to actually ask my question. But he played 32 minutes, made 30 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Great, even a great stat there. 11 for 28 from field, 4 for 3 from 3, 4 for 7 from free throw. Man, right there. Like, most of the bad percentage is from him. He had 1 turnover, which is phenomenal to me. I mean, if you get Jokic with less than 5 turnovers, that's a win right there, man. That's a win. 2 personal fouls was a plus 13. Julian Strawther played exactly 26 minutes tonight. He put up 12 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 5 for 9 from field, 2 for 5 from 3. He was all over the boy. He was just all over. You gotta love the hustle, man. He's really trying hard to find his impact and his footing in the season right now. And so, you got P. Watt going out. Strawther steps in and he elevates himself. He had 3 turnovers, though. He had the second, or he was tied for the most. It was him and Brucey B had the most amount of turnovers tonight, with both of them were 3. He also had 4 personal fouls and was a plus 2. Jamal Murray, in the 7 minutes that he was on the court, put up 2 points and 1 assist. He was 1 for 3 from field, 0 for 2 from 3, 0 turnovers, 1 personal foul. And then with the bench, you had Tim Hardaway Jr., who didn't have a great start, but then once he started to get things dropping, he was hot. And so he did play 21 minutes and put up 14 points off the bench. He also had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 for 9 from field, 1 for 4 from 3, 3 for 5 from free throws. So he missed 2 free throws. He's an excellent free throw shooter. For him to miss them, Jaylen Brown even missed free throws. Like, it was a lot of people, but it was mostly Nuggets. And so he had 0 turnovers, 0 personal fouls, was a plus 13. Now, Spencer Jones played 25 minutes tonight. He put up 6 points, 7 rebounds. He had 1 block. He shot 2 for 5 from field, 1 for 2 from 3, 1 for 2 in free throws, 0 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, and was a plus 22. So he was the highest plus and minus of any Nugget tonight. Spencer Jones, newly assigned Spencer Jones. Brucey B also, I just, the stats are not going to say the amount of impact that he had on the game, but I loved what he was doing with Jaylen Brown, throwing him off and everything. It seemed like he had his spark back, and he looks much more like the Brucey B that we know and love from the 2023 chip year. He's definitely getting back into shape. It just took a little while. He is older, so it's going to take a little while, but now he's back, and it looks really good. He was good in the Golden State. He's been good pretty much for the whole month. But he played 27 minutes, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 for 8 from field, 0 for 3 from 3, 2 for 2 in free throws. And then, so he was the only player tonight on the Nuggets who made both of his free throws. So, a give and take, giveth and take. He had 3 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, was a plus 8. So I don't really need to get into the other guys, but awesome. Congratulations to KJ Simpson, who got a bucket tonight, his first bucket at the home arena. I know his first one was on the Portland game, but yeah, gotta love that. Deron Holmes also saw some minutes, and he put up 5 points off the bench in 2 minutes in the garbage bench there. Man, I think, again, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to probably be annoying because I'm going to say this a lot, but Deron Holmes needs more minutes. I know sometimes he is terrible, but you got to work through it, and you got to develop. You can't get better unless you fail. And to not even let someone try is unfair to them. Meanwhile, you give these other players who are doing nothing but failing, even though they've had plenty of time, give him more time. I think he's going to be great, and he is a good shooter. There's no other way to say it. He is a good shooter. I want him to be a better rebounder. I want him to be more aggressive. But other than that, I think he's going to crush it. As soon as he gets enough minutes to really prove himself, he's going to really pop out. I still believe that. So we had overall stats here. We had 54 rebounds to their 48. We had 28 assists to their 18. We had 4 steals to their 4, so we tied there. We had 4 blocks to their 8. We shot 41% from field. They shot 34. We shot 34% from 3. They shot 27. We shot 55% from free throws. So I'm saying they've got to pick that up. They've got to fix that. They shot 77%. We had 8 turnovers. They had 13. We had 18 personal fouls. They had 20. Let's see, how many threes did they overall? So they put up, they made 12 threes and put up 43. We put up 43 as well and made 15. So we only made 3 more threes than they did. But 43 threes. Like, that's just kind of showing you right there just that the ball was not dropping, and you got 2 of the top offenses in the league in this game, and they both have some of the best three perimeter shooting, and neither one of them could make shots tonight. A little bit of that is because Celtics were on a back-to-back. A little of that is also because of the altitude for both teams. Got to remember that the Nuggets are not a home team right now. They don't play enough at home. And so the altitude's going to affect them too. Hopefully down the stretch of the season here, you get more home games, and hopefully they will get into more of a rhythm. But right now, it's just pretty much they're in survival mode. And you're going to get these kind of ugly-looking games at times. But this one was ugly until they kind of cleaned it up, and they were able to finish it out finally in a great way. So, great win. I love it. Let me know in the comments what you think. But, man, I'm so glad that they got at least 2 great wins in the last 3 games, or last 4 technically, because they should have won that one in LA against the Clippers. They really should have, but they bounced back in Portland, lost again in Golden State, bounced back again at home. We'll see what happens with these next 2 games. Hopefully they get another win. They can build a winning streak and try to climb back up that ladder. But we'll see. So again, Friday against the Dust Bunnies, Sunday against the Timberwolves, and then Monday against the Jazz. And I'm gonna be off on those days. I'm gonna try to watch them still, because I still am very interested in what happens in those games. But I'm gonna be on vacation, so I'm gonna not be able to do those 3 games. But I will be back. Actually, I think I will try to do them one on Monday. If not, then I'll get back. You'll see me back with the Lakers game. But that's pretty much all I got for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. Share it out to your friends and family. And if you feel gracious enough to give me a donation, the link for my PayPal is in the description below, as well on the profile page. You can check that out and put on a comment or a take about the team, about a player, about this game, about another game, about another team, about another player, or if you want to talk about another sport. Basketball's not for everyone. If you want to talk about something else, let's talk about something else. The Oscars are getting ready to go, so if you want to talk about movies, we can talk about movies, or if you want to talk about music, we can talk about that too. But I'll shout you out in the next episode if you do, and I really appreciate that donation. But you've been listening to CS 105.1, where I talk about the Nuggets with good vibes. We'll catch you later.